Hello, and welcome to today's session on Google Meet and Google Tools for Paraeducators. During today's session, you'll learn how to navigate the basics of Google Meet, hosting, controls, sharing, participation, and recording. You'll also learn how to organize effectively and use the search function in Share, Safe, and Drive. We'll also have a chance to explore tools in Gmail. This training is best suited for those who are new to Google Tools. This may be too basic for those of you who have more advanced knowledge of Google tools. Let's jump into today's slide deck.
All right, wonderful. So welcome again, Paraeducators, and here we are. We're going to get started with a warm opener. So you can locate the chat, which is it looks like a little quote box in the bottom right-hand corner in the middle next to there's people. And then you want to hit the chat with everyone and go ahead and just put a 1, a 2, or a 3, looking at these different characters from, why is the name escaping me? But how do you feel about Google Meet? Are you feeling awesome? Are you feeling a little nervous? Does it make you feel sad? How do you feel about Google Meet? A 3, all right, yeah, good, you're in the right place. So hopefully a 2, all right, we're kind of in the middle, feel okay, but not great. A 1, all right, Daniel, thank you, awesome. So hopefully, wherever you are on this Google Meet journey here, hopefully you'll learn something new or be able to kind of play around with it in a way that you have not before. And like I said, it's really changing every day. I led a session a little while ago, and Google Meet changed something on me about sharing my materials, which I had never seen before. So I'm learning too. Awesome. Thank you for your sharing. So we're kind of all over the map here. All right, so we're going to start with the basics. Where is everything in Meet? So here is a basic layout of Meet. We have along the bottom here, it has how to turn your mic on or off, as well as how to turn your camera on or off. You can turn on captions on or off with that double C. Yeah, for any updates, awesome. You can raise your hands there. And there is to share a tab, a window, or a screen. So that's the one I think that a lot of folks who are really familiar with Zoom have a hard time. They're like, how do I share my screen? So it's this icon here with the up arrow, and that's how you can share a tab, a window, or a screen. And right here, these 3 little vertical dots here, that's how you change your settings, backgrounds, layout, and more. So my backgrounds now, I like to pick my background, I like to call it my aspirational background, so where I would like to be. So this is what I picked for today. And that's also where you can change your view options. So a thing Google Meet has changed recently is the default option for the layout. It used to kind of have the tiles, and now it defaults to sort of, depending on how many faces. There's a lot of us, so it probably might look tiled still, but the default now in smaller meetings are these like long vertical profile pictures, but you can go in and change that to whatever you would like in those 3 dots and change layouts. And then down on the bottom right, there is a pop out for meeting information, attendees, people, and activities. And those are things that are definitely changing all the time as well. And then the last thing is the meeting name, which will be on the left-hand side of your screen. So captions, any attendee can turn on captions for themselves on their device. I am not able to turn on the captions, so if you're running a meeting, you cannot turn on the captions, but anybody in your meeting can by using those the 2 C's that are in the middle in the box. And it has auto-translated options for all of the languages listed there. And like I mentioned, anything with this in green with the underline will take you to a link so you can learn more about standard captions or translated captions if that's something that would be helpful to you. So all of that information about translation is there on the captions page. So like I just mentioned, layout. So any attendee can adjust their own layout on their device. So I can't change the layout that you see, but you are able to change it. And like I said, even this screenshot of the layout looks different now. because they have sort of a new view option, but layouts is where you can change how you see your screen. It will not change for anybody else. It'll just be the way that you see it. So the auto option, like I said, has changed recently, but you can also have it tiled so you see everybody's little tile box. You can spotlight so that whoever is speaking fills the entire window. So you don't have to see any of the boxes. If you just wanted to see me who's speaking, you could pick that. Or sidebar, which is where the main image is whoever the active speaker is, and then the thumbnails of the participants are on the side. And again, at the bottom there, that link will take you to some more information about Meet. And for those of you who just joined me, in the chat at the top, I pinned a sign-in sheet as well as today's slide deck if you want to follow along with us. So hosting basics. So that was information sort of about what you see when you're in a meeting and when you're hosting, but we're going to go over a little bit about hosting basics. So if you yourself are hosting the meeting, what are some things to note? So there are 3 ways that you can create a meeting link. You can create a Meet link in your Google Calendar when you are creating a new calendar event. You can create a Google Meet. You can start an instant meeting or create a link for later. And you can create it either in Gmail on the right sidebar or in chat. So I'm quickly going to show you where those 3 things are. So the first one is calendar. So if I wanted to create a meeting in calendar, I could go here. I would go to create an event. And right here, we would put the title of the event. So maybe I'll just put check-in, and then you pick the time, and then you can add whoever your guests are, and their names will pop up. And then what you can do here is say add Google Meet. And then when you do that, that means when you send this calendar invite, you hit save, and it will save. And then it says you want to send a calendar invitation. And now in the calendar invitation, it will also include the Gmail, the Google Meet. Another way that you can create it is right inside of your email. So if I go here and I'm creating an email, you can create it, and then down here we see set up a time to meet, and it will pop up with create an event, and then it's the same way as if you were setting up an event in your calendar. And the last way I wanted to show you is over here on the sidebar. You can also create an event here in your calendar and add it the same way. And the most obvious way would be to go to your Google Apps here in the top right. It looks like 9 little dots. We click Google Apps, and then we see our Meet icon. Click Meet, and then you can either create a new meeting, or you can create a new meeting, and then there'll be a couple options. You can create a meeting for later. You can start an instant meeting and schedule in Google Calendar. All right. We'll go back to here. So those are the different ways. And then also right here, it has some step-by-step directions in this link for how to create a Meet. And we just did our demonstration. And you can add a Meet link to your meeting in Calendar very easily, which I just showed you how to do that. And it's on this add conferencing. I feel like during COVID, there was a period where it automatically generated the link every time you did an invite. It does not do that anymore. And I often forget to send a Meet when I have a virtual meeting. So good reminder. And once you create that, you can also go down here. That's a good thing to note is this little gear icon here. Once you created a Meet, let's say you're going to have a meeting with another staff member and you want them to be able to have editing rights to the event, this little settings icon, when you create that calendar invite, you can give whoever you invite to the meeting, editing rights. I have mine defaulted so that anyone I invite to a meeting can edit it, because I often forget to add a video, Google Meet. So I just have it so that if I have a meeting with a colleague, they can go ahead and add that. Host controls. So this is where you want to think about, depending on what kind of meeting you're having, the host controls are the meeting security features. So in the bottom right-hand corner of your Meet, when you host a Meet, it has this little lock with a little person icon. And that is where you can control participation features like chat, mic, video, sharing, etc. So again, depending on what kind of meeting you're having, you might want your participants in the meeting to be able to have access to share their screen, or maybe not. You can also have it so that everyone is muted or cameras off, depending on the context of the meeting. You can also control who can join the meeting without needing the host to admit them. You can change any of these settings mid-meeting as needed. So as we were starting today, I went into host settings, and I just wanted to make sure everybody was able to chat and see the messages, and I made sure that I had it as trusted, that anybody would be able to join the meeting, even if they're outside of SFUSD. But you can limit it. You can limit it to who is able to join your meeting. And then breakout rooms have the same security settings as the main meeting they had when the meeting was open. So those have the same features. So here is an image of what those host controls look like. When it has that blue checkbox, that means it's allowed. So if you didn't want it, you would click it, and that would turn gray. And that would, limit those options, such as sending chat messages, reactions, which we started the meeting with, the ability to turn their microphone on and off. Those are all in host controls. Over here is a setting that we recently wanted to encourage staff to think about when they're creating a meeting, which is that the host must join before anyone else. So this setting right here, the host must join before anyone else, it defaults to off, which means that anybody can join the meeting at any time. We had a few situations in which teachers and staff members were creating meetings with students, and the students were going back into the meeting after the teacher was gone. So best practice, especially if you're having a meeting that involves students, would be to make sure you have that selected as on, which means that they cannot join the meeting without you in it. And again, just an explanation of those parts of the meeting access. So trusted means anybody logged in with an SFUSD account can join, and any non-SFUSD must ask to join. So that means it's open, but I have to admit you if you are not using your SFUSD account. Restricted means everybody has to wait in the waiting room. I feel like with Zoom, that was a default feature that everybody was in the waiting room. But with Meet, you have to make sure you select that if that's an option that you would like. And then the last one is open. It means no one has to join. This is really good, again, like it says here, for families. If you're inviting families, people might be joining on their phone, might be joining in transit. It's less complicated if you know that it's a small group that will be joining. And be sure to turn on host must join before everyone to keep it secure. So again, but you have to make sure you turn that on. It does not default to that being on. Sharing your screen. Like I said, I feel like in a lot of my Google Meet trainings and meetings, this is the one that's just most unfamiliar in comparison to Zoom. So it's like I said, it's that box on the bottom that looks, it looks like a little sort of box with an up arrow. And when you are sharing, you can share your tab, window, or screen. Best is to share the tab or the window. If you share your whole screen, they'll see everything, including notifications, calendar invites, all those things that kind of pop up on your screen. So if you do a tab or a window, it's best. Also, when you do the whole screen, it can do this mirroring thing that it kind of looks crazy. And if you choose a tab, the tab audio is shared by default. So if you are sharing a video or something like that, I know sometimes in Zoom there's a whole separate sound selection you need to make. In Google Meet, if you select the tab, it'll automatically share the sound, which simplifies it again if you're showing a video or something like that. You can see a preview in the Meet window of what you're sharing, but you can't control it from there, so there's no typing or scrolling in the window. And if you are already in a meeting, you can share directly from a Google file without going back to Meet. So you see that little icon there, which is a cool feature. Google Slides can now be controlled advanced inside of Meet, which is what I'm doing right now. And I don't know if I added it here. I don't know if it's on the next slide, but you also now, if you're co-facilitating with somebody, you can have a co-presenter. So that means that I can control the slideshow, and then my co-presenter can also control the slideshow, which is pretty awesome. And slide decks can be controlled in advance inside of Meet, and the share button will put the link in a slide deck to share it in the chat for you. Slides can be controlled in advance inside of Meet, and slideshow mode has a special toolbar with additional tools, which is what I'm using right now. Like I mentioned, the co-presenter can also control slides. Like I said, it's just really magical if you're co-facilitating with somebody that they can share as well. And it can show speaker notes to just you, so you can still see your speaker notes if you have speaker notes in there. And then, like I said, I could put a link into the chat. At the bottom there, we see you can see a little preview of what the icons look like. So exit presentation mode, add a co-presenter, show speaker notes, and then the advance and control slides, as well as the putting the link into the chat. And audience participation. So there are some cool ways that you can use the audience participation inside of Google Meet. So we'll take a little bit of a look at those. There are breakout rooms. You can create breakout rooms before the meeting in Calendar or during the meeting while you're in the meeting itself. And the breakout rooms is going to be in the bottom right-hand corner of meeting tools. It's the very first one that pops up. It has some great features in there. You can give a timer, just like in Zoom. You can give a timer to the folks that are in the different breakout rooms. You have the ability to randomly assign people, so you can shuffle them around. And like I mentioned before, in terms of security features, breakout rooms take the same security settings as the main room. So if you have turned off chat or anything like that, that will be the same in the breakout rooms. And same with sharing screen. If you have it that participants can't share their screen, they're not going to be able to do that in breakout rooms. When the host closes the rooms, participants see a 30-second countdown timer. Again, very similar to Zoom. I will say the one thing to be mindful of is it's not as easy to set up breakout rooms in the moment as Zoom. You can't set them up ahead of time if you don't know who's going to be in the meeting. So you can set them up ahead of time if you know who's going to be in the meeting. So just be mindful of that. If you plan to have breakout rooms you're going to do in the moment, it's really helpful if you have a co-presenter that can set up the rooms ahead of time. There's also these options, again, for interactive options. Polls, where you can ask the participants questions. It has to be created by the host, and it could be created in advance in Calendar or on the moment in Meet. So again, one of those options that you can create ahead of time or in the moment. It can record respondent's name or let the users respond anonymously. And the host receives a polling report at the end of the meeting. There's also Q&A, which is a way to give everyone an easy way to ask questions. Again, the host has to turn it on, and then you can choose if you want it to be anonymous or with folks' names, and can moderate which questions are visible to participants. So again, very similar to Zoom, it's just in a different location, and it's called Q&A. And again, you can decide if the participants' questions will go to everybody or just to the host. All right. Recording. So I am recording right now, and there are some really great new features with recording, or maybe not that new, but good to know features in recording that can help, especially with if you are wanting to translate materials or offer resources in multiple languages. So before we, oh, I guess that's all I have to say. I was going to say something else about recording, but yeah, the recording button is going to be down there in the bottom right, where the meeting tools are, those 9 dots, and it's kind of down in the middle. And when you click on record your video call, it will pop up with some different options, and it can do the transcript. I think now the transcripts are available in more than English. Or if you want to transcribe in English, it also has the option you could transcribe in English and always translate it into multiple languages outside of Google Meet if that's something that feels important in terms of accessibility for your community. All right, I've done a lot of talking. So take a moment and think about all the things I talked about. Take a look through the slide deck and think about what are you most excited about with Google Meet? What makes you nervous about Google Meet? And Yvette, I see your hands up. Feel free to unmute or type your question in the chat.
All right, so my question is, like, after creating a Google Meet and link, and let's say I forgot to copy it and save it somewhere, how can you go back onto your Google Meet to recover the link? That sounded so wordy, I'm sorry.
So I think what you're asking is that you made a Meet link, and it has probably a calendar date and time in it because you picked when you're going to have it, right?
Yeah, well, this time, like, it's just more like a hypothetical. Like, a lot of times I've just made links just to make a link to use for a PD, or let's say Janet and I were doing a quick meeting, and she uses that. She's been using my link for other meetings that she's had. So, like, how do I recover a link if I've lost it? And also, how can you delete a link that's already been created?
Yes.
I know these are intense questions.
I know. I'm like, so usually with the links, if you're repeating like I feel like it's something like in Zoom, it would be like your personal meeting room link, right? So you just have one link you're using over and over again. Is that correct? Is that kind of what you're thinking about?
Yeah. Yes.
So that link's never going to change. So if you can just find any time you used it and go back and copy that link, that would be the easiest way. Like if you know that you and Jeanette met at some time, go back and like copy that link and keep it somewhere. I'm also wondering, let me look at something real quick. As everyone's
yeah, so like if I lost the link, like the other part is like if I lost the link, how to recover it, and also how to delete links when those links are no longer needed.
Yeah.
Zoom, you could delete them or just use one time.
Yeah, right. That's why being able to join and not like that folks can't go back and join it again. That's why we want to make sure people have that, just because we want to make sure that they can't go back and get it in here. So let's see this. What I was going to show you is if we go. So I went up to the. I went up to the 9 dots at the top, the apps, and then I clicked on Meet, and it does show you a list of them here. And you can also enter like a code or nickname. So if you remember sort of what the original one was, you can go in and then find that meeting. I'm trying to see TLE. See what happens there. Another one, but you can look for your Meet links there.
Okay. So I just have to kind of play with it to kind of do it. I get you.
Yeah. But yeah, it's probably best to try to like have a new Meet link so that those don't kind of get lost along the way. The other thing I was going to show is if you go to your Drive, and over here on the left-hand side, My Drive, it has all your Meet recordings and your Meet reports. So any meeting that you have hosted or that like somebody used your account for, it'll have all of them listed there with their date and time. So that might be another place you can figure out what and where.
What link was
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know. Like I would play with it now, but as you guys know from the opener, my Wi-Fi is down and
Oh
I
no.
gotta change my circuit breakers. So I'm gonna be
Oh
at Starbucks when I
no.
do my presentation.
Oh no. But that's a great question. And we will have some time to kind of play. I know you said Wi-Fi's down, but we'll have some play there as well. All right, in the chat, thank you, Daniel, for putting your questions in the chat. And everyone else, please feel free to contribute what you're excited about and nervous about. You see my worst anxiety is around going into a meeting, especially if I'm presenting, to find that the location of the controls have changed or something. Yeah, yep, I've been there. Just have to take a deep breath and look through it. But the host controls are always located in the same place. Um, is there a way to get alert changes in the format? Um, you can sign up, and I'll find it during our work time, Daniel. I'll put in there. There is a way to get alerts when there's changes to Google, and I have them filtered into a folder. But they do have I don't know if it's like weekly or biweekly report that goes out about any changes that they have coming out from Google, and then you could just scan it and be like, "Are there any changes with Meet?" And then it would tell you the information there. I don't believe there is a meeting length right now, Dana. I'm going to confirm that. And if it is, it's very long. So it's not like Zoom. We don't have a 30-minute limit. That's part of why we're really encouraging folks to use Meet, is because we have the enterprise account for all educators, which means that there is no meeting length. Great question. And Dana, I'm going to remember to get that. My Google Drive is almost full. What can we do? That's a great question. Let's during work time. Why don't we chat and see? Because I think we have a pretty high limit on our educator accounts. So I wonder if you are talking about your Google Drive on a personal account. But we can meet during the work time and take a look at that together about Google Drive. Great questions. All right. So just to reiterate the information on recording, only a host and co-host can record a meeting in Meet. So I know earlier, I think it was like the end of last year, there was a question specifically about around IEP meetings on not being able to record. And what it was is you have to make sure that the person who's trying to record is either the host or the co-host. So I know when I was a special education teacher, I would host an IEP meeting and there'd be 10 people in the meeting. In this case, if you're holding a virtual IEP meeting, only the host or somebody who's the co-host could do the recording. So just something to make sure of. And like I just said, the question about how do I know which where the information about prior meetings is, all of those things actually live in the host's drive. So I'm recording this meeting right now, and in my Google Drive, if I go back here, like I said, in my Google Drive, I got to make sure I click on my drive, and then here it is, the Meet recording. So any meeting I have recorded is here, and then meeting reports. That is where you'd find the information about who logged into your meeting, for how long do they log into your meeting. So all of those things just automatically get loaded into your Google Drive and will be there for you to go back to again. All right. And what gets recorded. So the active speakers, video, and voice. Pinning a participant won't affect who is shown in the recording. So again, that would be in this case, I am the active video participant's voice. If somebody else speaks, then they will be included as well. Anything that's presented or shared. And all chats that are sent or posted after the recording stopped, before it was stopped, will be included. So this chat will be included in those, the recording, not the recording, but the record of the meeting. And captions can be recorded if they are turned on. So if I turned on captions, it would record that as well. Screen recording. So recording a Meet by yourself with your screen shared is a screen recording. So I actually have used Google Meet when I am want to do a quick video. Instead of having to go to another video editing tool, you can just create a meeting for yourself and do the presentation there. So that's just a good, cool way to do a quick recording if you needed to do that for some reason. And again, you can turn on those automatically generated captions if that's something that feels necessary. And then it will be stored in your Google Drive automatically. So here's just like an outline of the features with Meet. And again, we're really encouraging as many SFUSD staff to use Meet instead of Zoom because we have such a limited number of Zoom licenses, and it will probably in the next year get smaller and smaller. Zoom, like I said, Google Meet really has come a long way in terms of what they can offer, and it all is embedded already within our Google tools. So we highly encourage you to use Google Meet as much as possible. Like I said, the only one that takes a little bit of learning is the breakout rooms still need a little bit of work. They are great if you want to randomize groupings, but if you are trying to set them up ahead of time, it's best to do that ahead of time in Google Calendar. All right, everyone take a deep breath. We're going to talk about Google Drive now. So again, back to our numbers just to gauge everybody who's in the room. How do you feel about the organization of your Google Drive? I already saw a question about the Google Drive being full. So 1, 2, or 3, are you feeling super sad about your Google Drive and stressed? Do you feel okay? Or are you a 3? Are you super happy about it? You love how organized your drive is. 2, 3, 3. Oh, awesome. I think I fall into the 2, sometimes 1. 1.5. Very good. 3. Oh, it's so organized. Got a lot of organized folks in here. Great. So this section, just kind of talking about making Gmail more manageable. I'm just going to go through search, filters, sidebar. So this is Gmail, but I'm going to go through, I guess we'll start with Gmail and then go through these different tools here. And again, those underlined items are where you can click and go right to that section again. So the last 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes will be workshop time. So feel free to go back to these to see, to get more information about Gmail. I was meaning to do Drive first, but here we are in Gmail. All right. So using the search feature, Google Drive does have a similar search feature, and both of them are so good that you can, help. I feel like my Drive and my Gmail are not that organized just because I use the search feature so much on both of those. So the search bar for your Gmail is at the top of Gmail, and you can type right into the search bar. You can type email addresses, names, words that are in a subject line or email, or click the slider bars icon for more search options. So if you know you're looking for an email with an attachment, that's where you can look for it. If you remember the specific day, you can type that in there. You can type subject, that sort of thing. So the search feature is really helpful if you're looking for a specific item in your Gmail. I'm not going to talk about filters too much, but that is something that during work time, if it feels like something you want to spend some time on. So filters in Gmail, it tells Gmail to do specific actions for you to put a new email if it has certain characteristics. So I was talking to Daniel about Google sends out either weekly or bi-weekly emails on updates that are happening, and it's a lot. And I don't always have time to read them. So what I did is I set a filter so that they automatically go into a specific folder over here. So I have it on the left-hand side here. It says labels. So I created a filter, which you'll have some time to explore. And in the filter, it has a Google Workspace here. And that has all the Google Workspace emails that I get. And so if I wanted to go through and click on a recent Google Workspace email, it has all of those updates. What are the updates in Google Workspace? So it says it has 5 new updates. And so anytime I wanted to go through those, I could take a look at them. I also have other items that are grouped by keyword. So if you get an email from from a certain person or an organization, and they're important emails, but you don't have time to read them and they're just cluttering your inbox, and you want to set aside time during your work week to look at them, you can apply some rules that will tell you how to do that, which will have some work time for you to explore that if that feels like something you want to spend some time on. There's a video here. We're not going to watch it, so if you learn better by video, it tells you a little bit about how to use these ready-made filters that will sort of star emails that are important or mark them as important, and there's a video you can explore there. And then, like I was saying, there's custom filters. So if you have a specific organization or person where you want to filter those emails to a special folder, you can do that. And then this kind of walks you step by step through what that process is. I'm not going to do that now because I don't know that everybody will want to explore that, but if you want to, there'll be time for that. And then how to access your custom labels later. If you want to edit them, you can also go back and edit them. These are videos on what I described about labels. Another cool thing in Gmail is it has this sidebar of tools, which I showed a little bit earlier. So on the right-hand side of your Gmail, there's all these different items that you can jump to right away. I feel like calendar is the one I use the most. So you can just, over here on the right-hand side of your email, it has this sidebar and it has all these things. And so I can click on calendar and it will pop out exactly what my day looks like. You can go to the next, whatever day. And then when you click on it, you can just join the meet right away, see who's in the meeting, all of those things that you can do in calendar, but it pops out right at the side of your email. And then to close it, you just click on that little arrow at the bottom right. Another feature, just to note, if you want to explore it later, if you have not yet, is vacation responder. So if you're going to be out or you're sick or you're going to be out for like a week, you can set your vacation responder. So there's all the directions for how to do that. Again, our 9 little dots in the top right-hand corner. Next to them is the gear icon. And when you click on that gear icon, it will pop out to this, and you want to click See All Settings, and you scroll all the way to the bottom, and that's where your vacation responder is. And you can put the date. So if you know ahead of time you're going to be out for spring break or the summer, and you want to set that vacation responder, we're aspirationally ready for the end of the year. We could set it now for the summer. The first and last day there, you can customize the out of office note, and then decide only people in your contacts or everyone. And then you hit set and it'll set itself up. And finish out this session. All right, so we had a lot of 2s and 3s, a 1.5. I feel like I would probably, yeah, I see a 1. I think I probably am the 1.5. I'm a little bit organized, but could use some work. Again, this slide right here, all of these underlined items will take you to the link the slide that talks about that item. So feel free to go back to this as a resource at any time. Like I said, we'll have actually about 15 minutes, not 20. We're a little bit behind, but that's okay. But we'll have about 15 minutes for you to explore. So be thinking about which of these things you want to explore during workshop time. But again, you will have this as a resource at your disposal whenever you feel like going back to it. And so, yeah, we'll talk about search, creating folders, color coding, starring, and then explore a little bit of those security and sharing permissions. So using the search feature, like I said, I feel like my drive is not as organized as it could be. Same with my Gmail, because I spend most of my time using the search bar. I'm just getting really good at deciding what I'm going to search for. So you can type it right into the search bar, an email address, a document name, any word in the document. And then this slider icon can offer some more details on that. So I'm just going to show what that looks like here. I recently did a PD on AI for coaches, and there it is. Right? I just typed AI, popped right up. I also maybe looking for, I've been making a lot of recordings of my PD sessions. So I might just want to search by videos, like which videos have I made. So I'm going to say by anyone because I've made them in our shared drive. But I could also search by just owned by me. So let's see what happens when I search that. I hit search, and then that's what comes up is this AI for coaches for the new teacher center that I made, as well as all of these items here. Those videos are the video recordings from Google Meet. So the ones that were just owned by me. So that is how you can use the search feature inside of your Google Drive. And there's a video here that will take you through how to create folders in Drive. So again, that's another way that you can organize your folders in Drive. There's a video you're not going to watch, but you can watch on your own. And I will show you how you create a folder in Drive. So if I go to my Drive, just a few things to note. In a lot of our trainings, we've had some questions about, oh, but this isn't in my Drive. So it defaults to home, which will show you all of the items that are in both your own Drive and your shared Drive. So if we go over here and we hit My Drive, that's my personal Drive. That's not shared with anyone. That's my personal Google Drive. But under that, you may have this, you may not, depending on your school site. But there's an option, there's something new called shared drives that came out a couple of years ago through Google. And what that is these are drives that are shared with a group of people. So any item in these shared drives is shared with anybody that's in that group. So you can see here on the right, it says members. So this first one for CNI, that only has 8 people. But this one down here, that's my team's drive, this DLE shared drive has 18 people. So I say that just as a reminder, if you're looking to work in your own drive, you're going to click on My Drive. So just make sure you're in the right place. So once you're in My Drive, you go to New, and this will give you all the options for things you can create there. And this is where you would create a new folder. And then you would title it and hit Create. All of these are all of my folders here. I got a little carried away with color coding. So if you're somebody who likes that, you can also color code your drive, your folders in your drive. And you do that by going over here to where it says More Actions, these 3 little dots. And you have the option where it says Organize. And that is where you can select a color. You can move it to a different location. You can add it to your starred list. So those are where all the options for your folders live, is in these 3 little dots on the right-hand side. You can also do that by clicking Change Color. And this color coding is only visible to you, just as an FYI. This is just for your own personal organization, so it will not impact anybody else who's shared on that folder. You can also use stars to mark as important. So if there's an item you want to make sure is important, you click that star there. And then if you want to just look at your starred items over there on your side of your drive, it will give you the option to just look at the starred items. Shared with me. So this holds all the files that have been shared with you. It can't really be rearranged or organized, but if you are looking to see what might have been shared with you by a teacher you work with or a department you work with or a colleague, you can click that Shared With Me button and it will show you everything it shared with you. It's a little messy. It's not organized and you can't really organize it because it's things that are shared with you. And I would just say use the search function instead. In that search, you can also search by email. So if you know who shared it with you, you can just search by their email and everything they've shared with you will pop up. So a few things to think about when sharing is about cybersecurity. How do we keep our shared items safe? The 2 biggest issues that we find that we come across with Drive is oversharing, either not paying attention to the settings in Drive when you're sharing, or forwarding an email that has a shared item in it without noticing what's shared in there. A few sharing mistakes that happen they're automatically applied to all the files in that folder. So let's say you share a whole folder, whatever that folder says the security permissions are, that's what travels with all of the documents within the folder. This, I think, has changed recently, the default access level, but you want to make sure what that default is, and then also deleting a file. So if you delete a file, it doesn't remove shared access for 30 days. So that means that if you delete it from your folder, but you've shared it with somebody else, it will live on for 30 days. So just taking a look, when you share, there are 3 levels of access to files: view, comment, and edit. So just make sure when you're sharing, you're making sure you are selecting what type of rights, permissions that person has. And then we can see that here on the right, the little drop-down menu here. And you can also give temporary access. So if you want to give access to somebody, but only for a week, because you're designing something and there's an end date in mind, you can also give them temporary editing access. The owners of the file also have more security options. You can prevent editors from sharing with other people. You can disable downloading, printing, or copying. So if you've made it, there are additional permissions that you have as well. Sharing folders. Again, these are the 3 access levels: view, comment, and edit, and also this additional permission if you are the owner. You can change, you can select what kind of privileges folks who access it have. Sharing via link. So instead of adding people via email, you can make a file link for an entire folder or file to make it the item accessible via link. But a few things to note: this applies, if enabled for a folder, it applies to all files in that folder. So like I was saying, if you think about it, it's like the folder is this big bag and you put whatever you're sharing in it. So whatever's in it has the same permissions as the whole bag. And then there are these same options here of who can share it: restricted, SWSD, or anybody with the link. So the restricted would mean just you had a few email addresses that you made sure those are the only people who could access it. All right, so we're about to dive into our work time. So in the chat, before I give you some menu options of what you can try, what are you most excited to try? Is it filters? Is it organizing your drive? Is it exploring some of those Gmail organizational tools? Are you ready to make your vacation responder for the summer? Just type into the chat, what are you most excited to try with Google Tools? Vacation responder. I'm with you, Daniel. Creating meetings. Awesome. So before we dive in to work time, starting on slide number, what slide number is this? Slide 55. There are a list of options. So I'm going to go through them and then I will set our timer and you can explore it. So if you want to explore Meet, I have a list of options. Now these are all, this is choose your own adventure time. So you don't have to do this. If you just want to kind of play around in this protected 15-minute space to try out some of the things on your own, please do. But I have a list of options of what you could explore. So you could try generating a Meet link, and then if you click on any of these underlined items, it'll take you to the slide deck that walks you through how to do that. You could play around in a Meet, so create your own Meet. Try blurring your background or adding a fun background. Try adding a co-presenter, try muting somebody. Just play around with it. All of these links will take you to what you can do in there. If you don't really want to like dive in and you just want to read a little bit more, I also have some additional resource links where you can just do a little more reading on your own. So pick your adventure for your learning style, for what works for you, for what you have the bandwidth for right now. In Gmail, I see somebody saying, why don't you organize your drive or do their vacation responder? Check out the search. Here's some items you could try out and search. Try out the sidebar of tools. Maybe you're really going for the gusto and you want to create some filters. Go to that slide that will walk you through how to do that if you want to make some folders that will filter out your email. More Gmail, vacation responder, try it out. There are some other time savers I did not talk about, but there's a template feature if you want to explore those, or if you want to do some reading on how to streamline workflows, look at some other resources, Gmail resources, please feel free. Drive, so I know somebody said organize your drive. Here are some different ways you could do that. I explored some of them. Please go ahead, explore this slide, go back into the slide deck, pick what you would like to explore. And then there are more resources if you just like to do some more reading or look at some more resources.